to my uh, Facebook page and my other pages and Twitter, and it's not working right. So anyway, uh, just want to remind you that the important thing to remember is that whoever creates the money creates this culture that we live in. And if you like this culture we live in, then you'll leave us uh, uh, doing uh, uh, doing our money creation with the bankers. That's who creates all our money right now. All the money is created with debt, and the bankers are in on every deal. They do fucking nothing that we can't do for ourselves. In fact, it's in the Constitution that Congress should have the power to create money. And now Congress actually gave that power away. In fact, it gave it away very early in 1887 when uh, Washington and Hamilton got together and convinced uh, us that we should give the power to create money to their friends. And these friends became our first bankers, and Washington became the richest man in the country. And and not only that, it was all done with fraud. The first bank of the United States was created money that was created with capitalized with money that was created with a fraud that was put on the uh, the merchants and the farmers and the fishermen of the 13 colonies uh, that had bought the debt of the 13 colonies to finance the war, and then they thought that this debt was worthless. Well, Washington and Hamilton knew that Congress was going to buy back all those debt certificates for 100% on the dollar. And they sent people out into the colonies to buy these things up from the people that owned them that thought they were worthless, thought they were doing good by getting some pennies on the dollar. And those certificates were bought by the Congress, and that money was used to first capitalize the first bank of the United States. Our whole banking system was born in fraud. Let's take it away from them, okay? It's time, way past time. They've created a culture of murder and death and poverty and sickness and, that we don't need to have. We can have all the health care that we need, all the education that we need, all the transportation we need, all the housing we need, all for free because it costs nothing to create money. People say, well, the government creates money now. Well, if it did, how come it owes so much to the banks? Huh? How come? How come we're so far in debt? If the government could create money, there would be no debt. But it can't create money now. But we have the NEED Act, H.R. 2990 of the 112th Congress by a former Congressman, Dennis Kucinich from Cleveland, Ohio, who started his career out as a 21-year-old fighting the banks in Cleveland that were trying to take their power company away from the city, that was using the profits from that company that they owned, the city owned, to finance programs for the poor. The bankers were trying to take it away from him, and he stopped them. And it was just a fucking kid. and uh, uh, Dennis worked with Dennis Kucinich, former congressman from Cleveland, Ohio, because when he did the NEED Act, they got rid of him. They got him gerrymandered. They they got a district where uh, Joe the plumber beat him, and so, uh, but Dennis is not gone. Okay, and he left us the most revolutionary legislation that's ever been introduced in Congress, and that is the NEED Act. H.R. 2990 at the 112th Congress. And you can look it up. And so, anyway, this is what we've got on the agenda of what we can do. Us punks, us layabouts, us that have used the strategy of the slaves to deal with the things in our life, how we've done that is we've done the minimum possible, made the minimum grades, done the minimum work on the job. Uh, uh, that's what we did to survive. And thank God, uh, the Democrats did do a couple of good things for us, maybe more than two, but gave us Social Security and they gave us Medicare. And that's how I survive now. And I've been retired 18 years and on Medicare and Social Security, and it gives me a good life. I got subsidized housing. I live in a place that only costs me 30% of my income. Actually, a little less than 30% of my income. So a landlord can't hike my uh, rent because of what I'm uh, because he can, because he's got a monopoly. Yeah, landlords have a monopoly on us, so we can stop all of that, and let's do it. Uh, what we're going to have to do is actually occupy Congress. Us punks and broken glass and hip hop skaters, um, we can occupy Congress because we don't have anything else to do we? And if we can just get something that's where we can eat and sleep in Washington D.C. That's what we got to get. We got to get something where we can eat and sleep in in Washington D.C. and sit in the offices of the congressmen until they finally give in to us. And we're just going to have to make them do it. That's how we got Social Security and Medicare. Is the communists and the socialists and the unionists got together and demanded that FDR give us Social Security and then Medicare, and that's what we're going to have to do. And if somehow we can live and have a place to stay in Washington D.C. and have food to eat, uh, and skateboards to play in and gather in, and parks to talk to each other, and then on when Congress is in session, sit right in the congressman's office, all of them from all over the country. So what I'm planning here in Norman, Oklahoma, is I'm going to work with the hip hop group uh, to uh, talk to the hip hop guys and educate them about money and what's been done to us and what we're going to have to do about it, and maybe we can figure out how we can eat and sleep in Washington D.C. and camp out uh, uh, on Congress until Congress does what we want. We don't give a damn who is in Congress. What we want is what we want. So here we go. I'm going to end the stream, and I'm going to see if there's some way that I should have been able to broadcast this on my YouTube channel and on my uh, on my Facebook page and my Twitter page. So talk to you soon. Again, this is William at Occupy the Need Act in Norman, Oklahoma. Bye now.